Hello and welcome to Financial Technology Frontiers Live for this interesting conversation in the area of payments. With me today, I have a very noted luminary from the world of payments. His name is Benny Tadele. Benny, welcome to Financial Technology Frontiers Live.
Thank you, Babu. I appreciate it. I'm really looking forward for this conversation. Very excited to be here. And thanks for everyone tuning in.
Thank you very much, Benny. Benny, now you have been observing the global market of payments very closely. From the world of payments globally, what is the kind of evolution you have been seeing in the recent past? Okay, and what is your take on the current state of payments and where are we going towards?
I mean, Babu, it's an interesting time to be alive. Over the past few years, the payment landscape have phenomenally shifted. But before we even talk about payments, you think about the consumer engagement, how people are changing, the younger generation coming into of age, and their expectation is quite different than probably me and you. And that has given rise to the digital economy. People, latching onto technology, their expectation of immediacy in how they interact with their stakeholders, etc. So the digital economy itself is growing. And we are seeing the foundation of this digital economy to be instant payments, right? The immediacy expectation is also extending to payments. So real-time payments phenomenally growing. So that has been a key driver. And in fact, because of that, we are launching as we speak the real-time payments report from ACI, the Primetime Real-Time Report. And that shows some, key trends, but not just key trends, but actionable insight that, people need to recognize. And we see this as our contribution and commitment to the industry, especially, to make sense of all the changes that are happening constantly in the real-time space. So number one, key output of that is there is now more than 180 billion transactions that have happened in the real-time space globally. That is, to give you a sense of what that means, that is more than 60% year-over-year growth. So you can see how it's accelerating. Some of it is powered by the wallet adoption and digital adoption of people. More than half of the consumers globally now are in the wallet space. And of that, India now is emerging as the leader in the digital economy, and now contains more than 30% of this volume. And to give you a sense of what that means, that is more than 3 times of its closest follower, the China. Okay. And so this is a great thing for India, being a participant in the real-time payment, because it has an impact on the economy. That means today more than $12 billion in savings, not just for consumers, but also for the merchants that to participate in that. So all in all, India is emerging as a leader in the digital economy and real-time payments. But we're saying don't rest on your laurel. I mean, there's a lot more work to be done, whether it's in the modernization of the payment infrastructure, because change is coming again, is continuing. Whether it is in driving the size of the transactions and the volume of transactions, because a lot of the instant payments today are low value payments in the micro payment space, whether it's in fraud protection strategies, whether it is the deployment of UPI in the tier 3 tier 2 banks. So a lot more work to be done, but fantastic progress.
Interesting. In this world of instant payments, in this world of strategies that you see in the banking and financial sector, especially in India, in the payments world, what are the kind of strategies you see for ACI in India? What kind of new products, processes and solutions are you crafting for this market, which can be different from what you offer in different parts?
You see, India is a very important and integral part of ACI strategy. India, as I said, fastest growing key leader in the digital economy. It's in fact, if you look at the financial sector, it is the fastest adopter of cloud modernization technology. It is the largest portion of the global real-time payment space. So it's an important part of our strategy. And I would say, number one, we already have a footprint in the largest institutions in the country. And that growth, that adoption is nothing but accelerating. And in that adoption and in that space, we've seen the need for resilient, secure, and scalable solution. That has been one of the drivers why the largest institutions has been adopting our solution. But continuing that journey with the change we talked about, the need for flexibility, platform agnostic, software driven strategy, modernization, all these are the needs that we see, and we're heavily investing in that area, especially again in the real-time space. So one is the technology side, but the other thing is India is a hub for a global economy. Whether you look at one of the largest system integrators that we work closely, whether it is in the channel partnerships, you think about ACI's partnership with Microsoft in the Azure space, now deploying our software and our solutions in the cloud, whether it is our vested interest and investment in MindGate to drive that last mile customer experience. So that kind of partnership is really important in the region. Or you look at our significant investment in top talent and innovative engineering force in the country. In fact, one of the largest technology hubs for ACI is India.
Oh.
And we continue to invest and expand and retain top talent, engineering operations, which have continued to contribute to our global technology capabilities for our customers. So I would summarize in those two spaces, and I would see that we continue to do more, and excited to what is going to bring India for ACI.
Now, if you see the banks in India, okay, they have had a very decent payment infrastructure comparable to some of the best, at least in the retail payment space, and they are modernizing. Okay, they are also trying to be at par with some of the best payment systems globally, right? Now, when you come to that as a strategy, how is ACI empowering the banks in India with some of those frameworks that will help them to be in par with the best in the world, at the same time be locally best as well? So, go global kind of stuff.
I like the word global, and that's how ACI thinks. We're a global company, global strategy, global technologies, but we really believe in regionalization and empowering our local teams and strategy. So global, I love that word. I would say ACI brings four things. We bring technology, state-of-the-art technology, world-renowned technology. We bring our expertise, and we believe we are a payment leader, so we bring our payment knowledge as well. And then lastly, we believe a globally connected network and capabilities to bear. But I think you got to step back and ask what's happening in the payment landscape in the non-banks, the large techs and the FinTechs and the challenger banks really eating the lunch of banks today, really challenging them in their business sector. And part of the reason is these challenger banks and this new entrance to the market were born in the cloud. And they are driven this data-driven, data-centric strategies to capture the heart and minds of the consumer. So banks have to really step back and reevaluate their technology strategies to really bring a competitive edge against these new entrants. And so ACI brings this world experience. We work with a number of countries and country infrastructures and payment modernization journeys around the world in real-time space. So we bring that knowledge, but we're also working with some of the largest banks in the country in their payment modernization journey. So with that knowledge, with that experience, we're equipped to help in that modernization journey and in that building a competitive technology strategy for the banks in India.
Interesting. So what are those interesting changes that you have noticed, especially in the area of digital payments and payment transformation that has happened in the recent past, and how long is it going to go in the future?
I mean, the pandemic has impacted and affected everybody and everything, and the payment space is not an exception. And I would say probably the three prominent things that stand out are, first of all, people are now less prone to exchange payment instruments when they go buy something from their retailers and their merchants. They're less likely to give cash or cards. They want to use contactless payments. And whether that is digital payments through their mobile phones, sitting at home and ordering through e-commerce websites, whether it's a tap card and etc. So contactless payments definitely is here to stay. The second thing is the omni-channel payment experience expectation has drastically increased. Folks used to say, if I have an omni-channel payment, that means I can buy online from you and get it delivered, or if I buy it on certain, I mean, that's omni-channel. True omni-channel expectation now is if I buy from you online, through my mobile app, through a store, I want the same experience, the same offer, the same payment type, the same delivery mechanism, etc. So true omni-channel payment is the other change that we're seeing being accelerated. And the last one is in the way corporates pay other corporates in the B2B payment space. That space used to be primarily driven by paper-based invoices and check payment, which again the pandemic has really driven down. So digitization in the B2B payment space is the other trend that we're seeing. So I would summarize all in all, digital payment trend, contactless payments, omni-channel experience, and B2B digitization is what we're seeing.
Interesting. What are the immediate things that will dominate the payment space in the coming 3 years?
Yeah, I am, Babu, I'm really excited, to see what things are going to unfold over the next 3 years, 2 to 3 years, I would say. So I would call it maybe 2 or 3 things. The first thing is, we've seen the growth of real-time payment space, particularly within a specific market, right? As different market and countries adopt real-time payment space. However, we're going to see the expansion of that to be cross-border, not just within the country. Similar to what India has done with the UAE and Singapore, real-time payment space going across the border, as especially these markets adopt the ISO 20022 payment schemes. The second thing we're seeing is the country banking digital currencies being adopted. This is a still nascent, very young age, still early space, but you have more than 80 countries talking about a rollout in the near immediate part. Now you see a lot of parallels between what this brings as well as real-time payments, either from visibility, immediacy, settlement, and so on. So we expect some of these to be carried out and impacted by the real-time payment rail itself. And then I would say maybe, lastly, there is going to be an explosion of how frictionless payments get interacted with the consumer. Whether it is the quintessential example of Uber, where you don't even see the payment happening, or with the smart fridge and smart trash cans and so on that folks talk about. But things like enabling payment through, waiving biometrics, etc., to authenticate the payment transaction itself. So frictionless payment is going to get a lot of airtime over the next, few years.
Thank you very much, Benny, for a wonderful conversation, and we look forward to more in-depth and more insightful conversations with you in the future.
Thank you, Babu. I appreciate it. I really enjoyed our conversation as well, and
Thank
looking
you
forward
so much.